Hey, how's it going guys, and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so I got a very exciting head-to-head challenge. If you're looking for a robot to avoid obstacles, well, I got three in front of me and we'll see which one's the best. Okay, so over here we got the iRobot Roomba J7 Plus, and we got the newest member, Yeedi Vac 2 Pro. And finally, we got the Roborock S7 MaxV. Now, all three robots vary in price, they have different features, also they have different technology. So let's just briefly talk about them. Starting with the J7 Plus, this has a front-facing camera with an LED so it can navigate in low light conditions. Benefit of having a camera system is it can distinguish between poo, bathroom scales, shoes, and also pedestals. Now, Vac 2 Pro, my newest robot vacuum, has a 3D laser system. A benefit of 3D laser systems is they're not obscured by light, so they can navigate in complete darkness and still actively avoid obstacles. Finally, we got the most expensive robot, the S7 MaxV. Benefit of the S7 MaxV is it combines both technologies, a 3D laser system and an RGB camera found on the J7 Plus. Okay, let's go ahead and put these three robots to a test.
Switch to vacuum and mopping mode. Start vacuuming and mopping. Please make sure there is sufficient water in the water tank.
Both the Roborock and Yedi have onboard mopping systems which they vibrate to help remove the tough stains. Now, stick around towards the end, the Yedi has a unique carpet sensor so it can actually actively avoid carpet while mopping. What was interesting, despite the S7 MaxV having both technologies, didn't necessarily do a better job over the other two models. Still got kinda hung up on the power cables, kinda failed to see them sometimes. Well, I gotta thank Yedi for helping the S7 MaxV getting it untangled. Alright, so it's interesting that the robot wasn't able to see the power cable along the edges, but as I continued on with this test, the robot did pick it up after all, and I'll show that in the map as well. That's what's kind of unique about the S7 MaxV, is it can actually recognize the opticals and kind of show you on the app what it thinks it is. So like I said in the beginning of the video, the S7 MaxV literally does everything but the kitchen sink. This is one of the few robots where you can view the live camera feed, and it does tell you what obstacles it sees and detects. Now it can detect like bathroom scales, shoes, pedestals, and other miscellaneous objects you may have laying on the floor. Alright, let's go ahead and jump to the J7 Plus. Well, iRobot is really the leader in terms of self-emptying robots. The self-emptying system is the best out there, and the J7 is no exception. Now, what's interesting is you notice that little QR code. Yes, it uses its front-facing camera to line up to your dock. While it's a new system, I prefer the infrared system, so that's just something to know. It does take a little bit longer for the J7 to dock over the previous models. Okay, so here's the benefit of having a camera-based system. So they're able to actively avoid certain objects. For example, the power cable, you want to keep your distance. But the other two obstacles, like the bathroom scale, the bar stool, it's okay to get really close so the side brush can clean around it. And that's the huge benefit of having a camera system. Now, on the flip side, it does need sufficient light for it to work, and certain lighting conditions, like the reflections off my hardwood floors, can confuse the robot. So just be mindful of that. Cameras really do struggle with certain lighting conditions. Alright, up next is the Yedi Vac 2 Pro. Let's see what this little guy can do. And don't leave yet, I got some more optical avoidance tests. All three robots do have smart mapping, so once you create a map of your floor plan, you can do area select, you can do keep out zones, no mopping. Now, one benefit of the Yedi is it does have a carpet avoidance sensor, so when it's mopping, it will actually actively avoid carpets. Unfortunately, the iRobot doesn't have a mopping system, and the S7 MaxV can't actively avoid carpet, it just lifts up its mopping system, which I'll explain later in this video. So like the S7 MaxV, the Yedi starts with the perimeter, then fills in that perimeter with a back and forth cleaning pattern. You may notice how much space it gave the bathroom scale, but kind of got closer to the bar stool. Now for the power cable, they kind of get sucked in, but was able to let go. So with all these robots I test, I really do recommend picking up all the power cables. Now, just like a straight power cable shouldn't cause any issues for these robot vacuums, but it's best to try to keep the area as clear as possible.
Starting charging.
Alright, so as I was testing these three robots, let's start with the Yedi. The Yedi has 3,000 pascals of suction, and according to the manufacturer, has up to about 240 minutes of runtime. I assume that's on its low power mode or in its mopping only mode. Now, the benefit of the Yedi is it's the cheapest robot of the three. I believe you can get this less than $500. Also, you can get a self-emptying option with this guy. Now, if you've seen other Yedi videos or my videos, the new benefit of the 2 Pro is it has a vibrating mopping system. Also has the inclusion of that 3D optical avoidance system. And during my testing, the Yedi did a pretty good job. Was able to avoid most of the power cables. Also, in the beginning, it was able to avoid poo, but towards the end, it decided to run over it. So just keep that in mind. That 3D optical avoidance doesn't know if it's poo, bathroom scale, shoes. It will just see the object and avoid it. Now, if you want something that can actually know what the object is, I definitely recommend one with the camera system like the J7 Plus. So during my personal testings, I have used this guy for about maybe 6 months or so, and I found this to be the best and most reliable in terms of avoiding obstacles. I really found like I could reliably have it go out and not get stuck. So if you have pets that like to leave a surprise, I definitely recommend the J7 Plus. And for the most part, it was able to actively avoid poo, no issues. Now with the J7 Plus, you can also get the self-emptying system. But one downside is this one does not have mopping, unlike the other two which has mopping built in. Now let's talk about the Roborock S7 MaxV. Now this is the most expensive robot. You can get in 3 configurations. You can get standalone, or you can get with the self-emptying called the S7 MaxV Plus, or you can get the Ultra, which comes with the Ultra dock. Now, the benefit of getting the Ultra dock is it can self-wash and self-empty all in one unit. Now, these 2 particular models can mop. I did test them, and I like Yedi's system where it vibrates, but this one also vibrates as well. This is ultra high frequency, where this just vibrates a little bit slower, but both did a pretty good job at getting the dirt grind. Now, one interesting thing is the Yedi actually has a dedicated carpet sensor. Let me show you that right here. You notice this little circle right there? This is an ultrasonic sensor, so once it gets close to carpet, it will actually avoid it when mopping. Now, the benefit of having this sensor is if it's just vacuuming, it will boost up its suction. These 2 models do have carpet boost. Unfortunately, this guy only has a single power level. Well, I really think all hybrid mopping robots should have a carpet avoidance sensor, because going through the application and trying to set up no mopping zones can be kind of tricky, especially if you have carpet that's slanted, or if you like to move around area rugs, you have to readjust for that. Okay, so let's see how well the 2 Pro picks up. We'll check out the mopping pad and see how much water is left in the water tank. Well, looks like we got maybe 2/3 full of water, and the mopping pad is definitely dirty. But again, I would definitely recommend mopping by hand if your area is super dirty, because they're really designed for light mopping tasks. Okay, so the S7 MaxV also can mop. One thing to know is it has the vibrarized system, which can lift up a few millimeters to cover low profile and rubber mats. Unfortunately, medium profile and high profile carpets, the mopping pad will scrape. I'll kind of demonstrate how it kind of scrapes against the carpeting and kind of slows the robot down. So just be mindful of that. Also, there's a bunch of settings in the application, so the S7 MaxV can be a daunting task if you're a new user. You might have to spend some time to go through all the settings that this robot has to offer.
Starting to wash them off.
Now, if you look closely, you may notice the vibration system working, lifts up, and it also will shut off the water. But with the medium to high profile carpeting, it does kind of struggle. So you can see the robot's trying to turn and it's really kind of spinning its wheels. But it does eventually be able to get to the edge and continue on cleaning. Now, just from my testings, I found the S7 MaxV is probably one of the best performing robots out there. But then again, the price is pretty high, around $850 for the robot itself. And if you add the Ultra Dock, you're looking around $1,400. Now, this is a pretty impressive robot, has 5,100 pascals of suction, also has up to 180 minutes of runtime. And of course, you have a laundry list of features. One of the features I personally like is the camera feature, where you can actually act as a mobile security device. Great if you're away from the house, you want to check up on the pets, make sure they're not getting to your laundry or something. Or if you want to check up on the kids, you do have a two-way communication. So yes, you can speak to the robot and hear what your kids are saying. Okay, let's go and wrap up the video. I'll give you my final thoughts. So in a nutshell, if you want the most advanced robot with every feature in the book, well, the Roborock S7 MaxV won't disappoint. It has the self-emptying, self-washing, and the mobile security system, along with the vibration system. Now, the J7 Plus, which unfortunately does not mop on its own, but you can get its dedicated helper, the Roomba J7, to help with that. Now, finally, Yedi Vac 2 Pro, being the cheapest of the three models I tested, is a pretty good option if you want a little bit more basic robot, but also has some of the features that the more expensive models have. Well, before I let you guys go, I just want to wish you guys a happy weekend or weekday, whatever the case may be. I'm not sure when I upload this video, but if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I do have a pretty vast knowledge on different types of robots, and even though these robots are great, they might not be right for you. So let me know what you're looking for, and I might be able to try to help pair you up with the best robot. Alright, have a great rest of the day. Be safe out there. Adios.